If you're looking at this year and thinking this is the year to finally make that move, regardless of whether that's to upsize, downsize, or relocate to a whole new area, then here are 8 repairs that I would make when selling my house to ensure that I get the best possible sales price. Real quick though, let me clarify, because I'm not saying that all 8 of the things on this list, they all need to be repaired. But what I am saying though is that if you are trying to sell your house, these 8 things, they are very key to not just successfully sell your house, but to profitably sell your house. Oh, and real quick though, I do want to encourage you to watch all the way through, because if you are serious about looking to sell your house, I have a free gift for you that I think you're going to find very helpful for this. So we're going to rank these in order from least to the most profitable, most return on the money that you spend on these repairs. So starting at number 8, we have flooring repairs, because listen, when a buyer, or let's call them what they are, a prospective buyer, right? But when they show up to your house and they open that front door, what's the first thing they see? The floors, or at least at minimum, the flooring to the entryway of your house. And if you have older, worn out, just overall bad looking flooring, that's going to create a bad or a negative feeling about your house in the mind of that buyer. The last thing you want is to spend a bunch of time, cleaning, staging your house. You have a great looking house, but you have really old carpet that's completely worn out, maybe even stained, like traffic stains, and guess what? That's all that buyer is seeing now. Think about it for yourself. Let's say you're walking into a house that you're thinking about buying, and you open that door and you see that carpeting, and you can literally see every traffic lane going through that house. It's completely worn down. It's kind of grimy and stained looking through all those traffic lanes. Or what about this? Let's say it's not carpeting. You open the door and it's tile. And at first you think, well, that's it. And then you notice that's not a very good looking tile. It's got a bunch of cracks and chips all over the place. Maybe even a couple of spots where the grout, chunks of grout's missing in the flooring. Would you be, and listen, maybe even it's only just a little bit, but would you be a little unsure about wanting to step into that house and step on that floor?
Okay, that was gross.
That's not to say that if your flooring is not brand new that you need to go and replace it. No, not at all. I'm just saying that if your flooring looks bad, and when I say that I mean bad, then sure, it might be worth it. However, this is probably the one thing I was a little bit hesitant to put on this list, because listen, it is very true. I mean, it is very possible to have a buyer that comes to see your house, and they see the flooring, and it's really bad flooring that you have in the house. I mean, it's possible that they could see the house and say, oh, maybe not this one. Or maybe they are still interested in your house. However, they're not interested in making an offer that, the kind that you were looking to get. Here's the thing though, this one, it can be a little tricky because, listen, you might have older carpet and you're thinking, yeah, it is worn out. If you do go and replace it, is that really what the perfect buyer for your house is looking for? I mean, is it even going to be the profitable thing? Could you have potentially maybe not necessarily replaced it, maybe done some sort of cleaning to it? It just, the bottom line is, here's what I would do. I would talk to your agent. When they come, they see your house, your agent, when they see your house and they assess everything that's going on there, I would get their feedback, get their take, see what they think, because the last thing you want to do is replace flooring when you didn't have to. Hey, real quick, if this is your first time here, my name's Jose. I am your SoCal Realtor. If you are thinking about selling a home, don't hesitate to reach out. My team and I, we've helped many people just like you, and we're here and ready to help you with your real estate needs too. But enough about that. Let's get back to the other 7 on this list. Next on the list is water damage. And I don't necessarily mean, the dishwasher broke and great, it flooded the whole kitchen. Unless, of course, that is what happened. And in that case, I'm sorry to hear that. But what I am saying, though, is maybe you had a leaky pipe under one of the sinks. And you fixed the leak. That's not leaking anymore. But the wood stains, the water stains that's under that sink, you haven't done anything with that yet. Or maybe it's not even stains. Maybe there's water damage that's under the sink. Or maybe it's not even that. Maybe you have wood siding on the side of the house. And the sprinklers, they regularly hit that wood. And now you have water damage on that wood siding from the sprinklers. I promise you that is something that the buyer's going to notice when they come out to see your house. Or maybe I should say most buyers are going to notice. Even if that is the absolute only repair that your house needs, when a buyer sees water damage, they tend to get a little concerned about it. A lot of times these can be pretty easy fixes. Sure, obviously if you have wood siding on the side of your house with water damage, that could be potentially a little bit more involved when it comes to repairs. But from what I've seen in a lot of cases, it might just be a simple matter of replacing a few pieces of wood that were damaged, or maybe not even that. Maybe it just need to be repainted. But here's the thing. I promise you, this really is another repair that can absolutely help stop the lowball offers that no one wants to get.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Now, here's one that isn't always an issue, but if it is, it really can't hurt your sales price. That is the windows and the doors for your house. If you have a window in your house that, the glass is cracked, or maybe it's not cracked, maybe it's full on broken, that's not going to be good for the sales price. And listen, it doesn't even have to be just the glass. What if you have older windows? You don't know if you've seen those before, the older crank style, and it opens the window. What if that crank doesn't work anymore and doesn't open the window anymore? That could be something that's beneficial to fix. Or what about the doors? Is it looking pretty bad? Like for instance, if it's a wood door and it looked great in its time, but it's been there for a while due to sun, due to water, it's looking really bad now. Or maybe it's a painted door. You painted, but it needs painted, right? The paint's old, it's peeling, it's cracking. Here's the thing with the door, at least from what I've seen many times, is that it doesn't always necessarily need to be replaced. I mean, if it's a wood door, maybe you could just restain it, give it a nice new fresh stain job on there. Or if it is painted, maybe sand it off and repaint your door. Here's something else. In fact, we kind of touched on this one earlier with an example I gave earlier, and that is, well, the exterior of your house. What does that look like? I'm sure you've heard it a million times now. First impressions of your house, they're so important. And it is true. And don't worry, I'm not going to go on like a 10-minute rant about first impressions and all that. Because again, I'm sure you've heard it a million times. But the fact is, it is true. Well, the exterior of your house, that's your home's first impression. Because now if you have a buyer that pulls up, they're anxious, they're getting ready to go see your house, they get out of the car and they look and whoa, right? What did we just talk about? Literally just talk about the front door to your house, the entrance to your house. And if it looks really bad, or what about this one? What about the eaves up above your house, right? If the paint on those are kind of coming off, it's peeling, it's looking kind of bad. Maybe wood on some of the corners of your eaves is a little warped and looking pretty bad there. Or here's another one we just talked about. What about if your house has wood siding? And remember, we were talking about sprinklers. What if you had sprinklers that have been hitting that wood and you didn't notice, and yeah, you have some damage on that wood? You'd be surprised just how often I see that with the wood on the exterior of the house. In fact, actually, here's another one I do see quite a bit is if you have a covered patio on the back and it's wood and the posts that come down holding up the patio cover, if you don't regularly, routinely keep up the paint on those posts, and listen, most people don't, unfortunately, it's not uncommon at all. But if you have sprinkler water that's been hitting those posts, it's not uncommon to see some water damage and maybe even rot in the wood there too. But in a lot of cases, and being perfectly honest, not necessarily all, but in my experience anyway, in a lot of cases, it might just simply be a case of go repaint the wood. Either way though, what I would do is I would go walk around the house and look for any possible potential issues that might be there. See if you can spot them before a prospective buyer comes out to see your house, sees them. This next one is a definite. You definitely want to make sure that you take care of this one before a potential buyer comes out to see your house. Make sure you don't have any obvious electrical repairs that are needed.
Electrifying.
Yeah, you don't want to scare away a buyer from making an offer on your house. A good offer on your house. You don't want to have any loose wires that are out and exposed, or if you go outside and look at the electrical panel out there and you look inside, you're, whoa, that's scary to look at. Quick story on that. I had a couple that I was working with just last year, and guess what his trade was? He was an electrician. And every house we went to look at, guess what was the first thing he was anxious to go look at? He was making a beeline straight to the electrical panel, and he was inspecting that. And there was a couple of houses that she was really interested in making an offer on, but because of those electrical panels, he was like, no, not a chance. We're not making an offer on this house. And it was kind of a shame. It was a little sad to see that, because one of those houses, I mean, it really looked nice. And of course, if you did some of that electrical yourself, meaning you're not necessarily an electrician, but you know what you're doing. For the most part, you know what you're doing. You decided, hey, we're going to put a light fixture in the back of the house because there wasn't one there, so we'll put that there. Or maybe, that covered patio we've talked about, maybe you decided, hey, let's put a ceiling fan under that patio, and you put that in there. The thing is, though, none of it was really done right, or not necessarily up to code anyway. These really are things that should be taken care of, because no one wants to buy a house that has electrical issues. I mean, nobody wants to move into a home. They love their home, but oh man, hopefully nothing sparks and burns the place down. And a little dramatic example, I know, but Again, nobody wants to have a house that has electrical issues like that. Now, this next one though, we kind of talked about this one a little bit earlier when we were talking about wood damage, and that is, does your house have any leaks right now?
We have a leak.
Yeah, this is another one that it really can't hurt the size of any offers that you get for your house. At least in the mind of a buyer anyway, if you have leaky pipes or leaky faucets in the house, they are likely to see the value of your house a little bit lower than you do. Yeah, when you have a pipe that's under the sink and it's leaking, or like I said, maybe it's one of the faucets, whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, tub, whatever it may be. But if you have a faucet that's dripping, and listen, I get that one. I mean, you might be looking at a faucet. Jose, what damage is that causing? No, it may not necessarily do any damage, or at least it shouldn't do any damage to any of the wood, but it does have a bad look. And a bad look, that's going to create a bad perception for any buyer. And a bad perception, that's going to hurt. At least in the mind of the buyer anyway, that's going to hurt the value of your home. Now, these next two repairs, hands down, they have the biggest bang for your buck, best return on money that you spend or invest in making the repairs. Now, I'm not going to say that they're necessarily the cheapest repairs to make, but of all the repairs that are on this list, these two have the biggest impact on what you're going to net from the sale of your house. At number 2 on the list is the HVAC system.
Is it hot in here? It's hot.
We live in Southern California, the Inland Empire more specifically, and if your air conditioner isn't working, assuming your house does have an AC system, you want to make sure it's working though. And I'm not saying that you need to go out and put a brand new unit in there, not at all. But you want to make sure it's working, right? You want to do some simple things like maybe changing the air filters, changing those out, help the unit work more efficiently. Have a technician come out, have them come out, go through the unit, give it a quick tune-up, service the unit. I definitely don't want you, or anyone that's trying to sell their home to overspend. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying here. You just want to help make sure that you do what you can to help ensure that your unit is working as optimally or as efficiently as your unit can possibly be working. And then there's the roof. Be honest, you're starting to wonder if I was going to include this one, weren't you? Listen, the roof is always a concern, as it should be. When we were talking about leaks earlier, yeah, the one leak that no buyer ever wants to have to deal with, and well, that's a leaky roof.
There's a leak in my room.
I mean, would you want to buy a house that has a bad roof? My recommendation, take a look. Do a quick visual of your roof. Honestly, you could probably see most everything from the ground level, but if you do choose to go up there, if you're like, Jose, we're going to go up there, we're going to get an up-close look at our roof and check this thing out. Just do me a favor. Make sure that you're very careful when you do that. Nobody wants to be falling off the roof. Now, if you have a tile roof, do you see any tiles that maybe have kind of shifted out of place, or maybe they're cracked or broken or something like that? Or if it's not tile, maybe it's shingle. If you have a shingle roof, same thing. Do you see any shingles that have kind of broken, or maybe they're not in place, or maybe they're kind of curling up or something like that? Not saying you have to be a professional roofer. I mean, nothing of the sort. I'm just saying that when you look up there, do you see any clear or obvious issues up there? Because the roof is the one thing on this list that just might hurt you the most when it comes to a prospective buyer. As I said at the beginning, these are not ranked in order of what's least to most expensive. They're ranked in order of what's least to most bang for your buck, most net return, best positive effect on the ultimate price that you get to sell your house for. Of course, though, with all that said, I would be, before you do anything, even if you see, oh, okay, Jose, I got like 3, maybe 4 of these things that are going on with my, before you do anything, talk to your listing agent. Point that out. Ask them, hey, these are things that I seen here. What do you think? Get their feedback, get their assessment. This way you can weigh the pros and the cons of whether or not you should do that repair. I'm glad you're still here because also, as I mentioned in the beginning, I do have a free gift for you, and that's my free home seller's guide. It is designed to be your blueprint, your roadmap. It's designed to help you if you say, we're ready to make a sale, we're ready to make a move. What should we do to start getting our house ready to sell? It's going to be your guide to get you every step of the way to help ensure that you successfully sell your house. You can click the link down below to download your free guide. Of course, if you do have any questions at all, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, my contact information is also down below. Feel free to reach out. Otherwise, until then, catch you on the next one.